Hello and welcome to Editing with My Wife. Now with my second epilogue. 2 finished books, Cheesy. How does that feel?
Woo!
I think it feels great.
I'm so proud of you.
Now, Cheesy has been my wife for 13 years.
2313?
No, this year it'll be 13 years.
No, last year was 13 years.
I'm not good at this.
Last year. So
I don't forget the date. I just forget how long.
Easiest way to do it is whatever.
2010, right?
Yeah, it was 2010.
Last year was 13, but that means that it was December 18th was 13.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've been together for 13 years, and we've been married for 13 years. Let's be clear. We've been together for 20.
Yes.
We've been together since we were 16.
Yes.
So in this epilogue, I wanted to kind of see if there were any questions that maybe the people have for us, or anything like that. We'd be happy to talk about our marriage if anyone's interested. And
how hooded is a pain in my butt.
It's a central part of who we are. So, and why I think we see love the way we do.
Oh yes, very much.
I think that those of you who have also been together for this long and don't hate each other have probably will understand what we're going through. But I don't know a lot of those people. It seems to be a rarity.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people in our lives who've been married for a long time, but we don't, from the stories they tell us, from the things that we hear about what goes on,
it's confusing. It's
confusing as to why it continues in that way.
Yeah. But that's us, and I wanted to put that out there first, but before we finish up this little epilogue.
Epilogue.
So in the comments below, let us know if you're interested in hearing anything about our marriage. We've been together for a while. I mean, I've always wanted to monetize it in some way. It's valuable, right?
Make money off of our marriage.
Well, I guess you could do that with unsavory means, but we're not doing it that way.
No. Ew. No one wants to see you naked
on
the
Do
internet.
you want to read this real quick? I don't want to see me naked on the internet.
Alright, so epilogue. Her name in this world was Naol. Sloane was her true name. The Grimheart, the title of the father she lost long ago. She was adopted. The only thing she remembered of the life before her adoption on Earth was the title Grimheart. She took it, a strange simplicity adding it to her own. Somewhere in the world Nathaniel the Noble had freed was someone who could recognize the title, who would recognize the title. She was going to find them and make them tell her what happened, why Grimheart was the only thing she knew of her past. The fight was over. Her brother gone to wherever the Forgotten Lake went, if he survived the depths. In the military she served, they told a story of Alexander the Great, a man she heard of in the schools of Earth. All the strings connected. She just had to pull on the right one to get the information she needed. But Alexander the Great had a companion that was once known to the strange world as Aeon the Grimheart. She left to explore the Lystran kingdom for answers, alone, or so she thought.
So that's if there's another book, now you get a taste of who this character is and what the plotline is.
Yeah.
And a little tease as to who's following her.
Is there a tease to who's following her?
Well, that's what it is at the end, or so she thought. It's a tease, right?
Someone's following her.
Someone's following her. She's not alone, and she thinks she is. So let's give that some room to breathe and move on to the next book. And we can talk about it real quick, because I'm excited about this one. It's a short book.
Very short, because February's short.
Also, that was a 39-chapter book I just wrote, and I mean, some of those chapters were as big as 2 or 3 chapters. And so I'm moving on to something that maybe can be a little more concise and I don't know, playful. And it's the story of an older woman named May who is what they call in her world a disciple of nature.
Mm.
And she's married to a man who fought in the war to free the kingdom they live in. They live on the outskirts of, like near the ocean border, like way far away from the central area. They live in this kingdom. The kingdom doesn't have a name, which is funny because the kingdom they conquered gets talked about. But that's because it's important in the story.
Uh-huh.
But Frick is a disciple of the arcane, of the divine arcane. The one I've been writing about in my books.
Which is a theme going across, is the divine arcane is always going to be.
And it is a way of saying God without giving it personality to me. I'm trying to like create something that is a God, a good God, a God of good. And what it came out to when, well, I'm actually kind of going into more detail in the book after A View from Above, but the thing is that A View from Above actually takes place close to the home of the divine arcane. And it's not advanced. They live in a giant forest, and they don't ever leave the forest. And that's because that forest is May's closest friend. The forest and the river that runs through it are her closest friends. And she talks to them, and she laughs with them, and she feels them. It's a truly unique bond with nature. And Frick, of course, has a bond with the divine arcane. Although I think when you read through it, you're going to find that it's not his favorite thing. He did it, and he loves it, but it's like it's work, not hobby for him. Whereas with May, it's all encompassing. To call it a hobby or work would be to limit what she truly gets from this connection.
Okay.
That's the setup. It's not a lot. She lives in this tiny little village, just like 5 or 6 houses, and she doesn't even live in it. She lives on the outskirts with Frick. They have a little house they built deeper into the forest.
So what little I know of this story, I
haven't really gotten to the hook yet.
What little I know of this story is that they are very helpful hermits.
Yeah. Helpful to about 12 people in their city, in their little village.
Yeah.
This is not big. And the
best part of the book is?
I mean, the part of the book that's really going to be hardest to translate properly. And I think I'm going for something pretty unique here, in that the narrator of the book is a character. It is actually Frick for most of the book. Mm-hmm. For the first part of the book, at least. And Frick is in a hat. And I guess the story is, the story that you hear about is how they get Frick out of the hat. He's just the hat. And, well, it just starts off like that. I don't know that we need to get too much more in, otherwise I'm talking about the story itself.
Yes.
Unlike Nathaniel the Noble, which required quite a bit more build-up. Like, there's so much going on in that I could have talked about that for a year. But still could. But with this one, it's the character I've actually grown closest to is a supporting character, not one of the main ones. Uh-huh. And he's a supporting character who they support more than he supports them. But it's important that they do it, and they get stuff out of it. Oh. And then there's really only 4 characters, aside from villains. There's 4 real characters.
4 is like your magic number,
I noticed that. I have 4 in Nathaniel's story and 4 in the twins' story.
Yeah.
There's only 2 characters.
There's only 2 characters, yes.
That's really not true.
What?
Because Zeka becomes more than a character in a way. She's in probably 3/4 of the book. Whereas Malgasta Florian, the other guy that I fell in love with, he's only probably 2 chapters. And they're not like whole chapters.
I have to say I absolutely love his name.
Yeah. And it just came to me. So and you'll see it typed out plenty if you're trying to wonder how I spelled that.
Impossibly.
This is the blurb.
Ooh.
So when you put it up there, I have the blurb up here now.
Nice.
And I can throw it up here to say that this is what we'll go into the before book. You can just put it up there.
Nice. Thank you.
And the world is big. Time is limited. And all May can do is listen to her hat. Or rather, her husband, who was transformed into the old wizard hat that usually sits atop his head and now it sits atop hers. Worst of all, the hat can do all the hat can do is narrate the goings on around the wearer. This is a story of how May goes about fixing this problem, with the help of some of their old friends and a view from above.
Wow. I like that a lot.
So, I mean, if you've been listening and enjoying this, get excited, because this book is, it's magical, but it's not the same magic system. It's fantastical, but it's not as the same kind of fantastical. Now, Florian is crux of the arcane, and the way he's like this super spy for the divine arcane, and he goes from universe to universe, stopping people from doing insane things in the moment they're going to do them. So you'll find that Malgasta Florian, like, for example, I don't want to spell any of the story's details, but for example, in the Old West, aliens came down and they found gold, and the aliens have figured out that if they manipulate gold in such a way that they can start taking control of other people's minds, and they can do it quickly and at a pace that's not healthy. So this is the job for Malgasta Florian, to come in and stop the universe from being taken over by these aliens.
Oh, wow.
That's just an example.
Mm-hmm.
I want to write a book that is basically just these examples of how he saves the world from impending. They're not always the world. Sometimes the universe. Sometimes literally everything from imminent doom. It's like if Doctor Who was even more important. Like, I get his importance, but he wasn't always going to save the day. He wasn't always going to prevent a cataclysm that could destroy all universes everywhere.
You're such...
But that's the fun of him, and I hope it comes off the way I wanted it to, because it gets wild. So Malgasta Florian is this old wizard, and it was Frick's commanding officer in the war. And Zeka is a friend of Frick's as well, and she was with him in the war.
Oh, okay.
And May just was a disciple of nature. Their job is to communicate with the forest and keep it happy, so that way plant life grows more abundantly, and river water is clean from the river. She makes the job of feeding and giving everyone water very easy for the people. And for that same idea, the city also has Frick, who protects the wall from outside invaders, or protects the city from outside invaders with a wall. An arcane kind of magical wall that prevents anyone he doesn't want from entering. So when Frick became a hat, the village is in danger.
Yes.
So here we go, and nobody knows. This comes out of nowhere for both May and Frick.
Yes.
And they eventually go find Zeka and Malgasta Florian, and they don't know about it either. They're confused, baffled by how Frick got turned into a hat. So that's exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah. Anything you want to say about it?
What I did.
That was a dump of information.
It was a dump of information, but it would be exciting to see how you accomplished to do this, the hat, as a character.
The narrator of the book is a character. That's what I'm trying to get done. Absolutely.
Yes. And how that, because from what little I know,
which we should reiterate, you don't know, you haven't read any of this.
I haven't read any.
You haven't actually physically seen the words with your eyes, and the first time you will be doing it will be on video.
Yes.
In this video that we're going to do starting probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll make it tomorrow and have it sent out the next day.
Yes.
So. You'll see Cheesy, and you'll see a little bit of my hood. I'm going to keep my mystique. Ain't nobody going to take that away from me.
But what little I know of this from our conversations of, like, trying to help you figure some things out and do that.
Oh, tell them what you do know. Quite frankly, catch them up on what you know. It's not enough.
It seems interesting to hear how. So some of the concepts I've heard was that she can hear the narration happening because when she's wearing the hat.
As long as the hat is in connection with you, you can hear the user. I come up with a term for it, and I don't think it's spoiling to give it away. It's unlife. So when you think of a vampire or a zombie, they are undead.
Mm-hmm.
And undead are things that have died that have now taken on new life.
Yes.
And so what I've created is unlife. They took Frick's life and used it to create unlife in the hat.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no previous, all the previous life stuff is still there, just like with zombies, but it's kind of irrelevant because all you can do as a hat is narrate the world around you. That's all you can do. Which comes in handy for the listener many times. And actually, I think it's kind of funny. I think I try to bring out a lot of funny in it.
Okay.
Because the hat will narrate in such a way that the person would feel or in some cases someone else would feel necessary to comment about it openly, not realizing that the narrator isn't a person but rather a voice in their head through a hat.
Right. It's like having a one-way telephone call. Sorry.
It's all good.
One-way telephone call almost, where
yeah,
you can hear a person, but the person can't necessarily hear you. But
all they're saying is what you're doing.
But the person on the other end of the phone can see everything you're doing.
And that's all they can talk about is what they're seeing.
It's like
a taskmaster task.
One has a video call and the other one has a audio call, and that's the only way. Can you imagine only being able to communicate with your loved one in this weird
it troubles her a lot.
Aww.
But in the end, Frick gets to experience things as a hat that he would never have had the chance to experience through May. So a lot of good comes from it too. And I like the characters. I really do.
I'm really excited.
So we can leave it at that unless there's something else we want to add. No. Give us questions. These epilogue little things we're putting out would be great for comments with questions about what you want to hear from us. So that way when we finish the next book, we'll have questions to answer for you guys. Otherwise,
ooh.
I don't know, 16, 17 minutes isn't bad. This will be a nice, easy video for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for listening and get excited. Look forward to A View from Above with May and Frick. Or as the trees would say, help May for Frick's sake. All right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Have a good day.
I love you. Bye.
Bye.